Hey guys, Oxalis Triangularis are a breath of fresh air, especially in my own personal houseplant collection. Now, there is a ton to love about these plants, and they truly are unique from their oxblood red color, for at least this variety, from the fact that they open up in the day and close back down in the evening times. It's pretty cool. So in this video, I'm going to be repotting not only this one, but I have another one as well. And I will also be sharing all of the crucial care tips that you need to know to care for these beautiful houseplants. Alright guys, so it's probably not going to come as much of a surprise, but Oxalis had been on my plant wish list for quite some time, actually way back when, before I obviously got them. And I did a video on these two Oxalis plants that I picked up just less than a year ago, in and around a year ago. And I had actually just repotted them while I was filming, or just before I had filmed that last video. First, I just need to say the color on these plants is a breath of fresh air. Otherwise known as the purple shamrock plant, its purple foliage is a welcome difference from green plants, and I might even say those pink foliage plants too. And they have actually grown considerably since then, but I actually am going to be combining these two Oxalis back into one container for a couple of reasons. It's just going to give a fuller look, and it's just going to keep everything kind of nice and tightly snug in this new one container. But the most important part that I want to share with you guys is I'm going to be using these as a centerpiece for my dining table, and I'm going to be restyling that whole thing with my Oxalis, and I'm going to be using these beautiful like neutral cream colored terracotta pots. And they have these cute little saucers that go with them. So I'm going to be putting the Oxalis in this, and I actually have an extra one of these, and I'm going to be putting a completely different plant in this. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you the whole setup of what my dining table looks like with this new kind of houseplant centerpiece on it. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for checking out this video. I'm Tyler, and if you like what you're seeing or you find this video to be useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, or better yet, you can subscribe to my channel. There are a ton of interesting facts actually about these plants, the Triangularis, Oxalis Triangularis. Some Oxalis species can launch their seeds many feet away at an optimal angle to boot at over a velocity of 4 meters per second. And I talk about all of them in the last video that I did. So if you're interested in hearing more about these unbelievable facts about some of the features these plants have, then check out the link I'm gonna throw up right here for that old video. All right, so before repotting these up in the same container, let's jump into some of the critical care or crucial care tips that you need to know for caring for the Oxalis. So when it comes to light, these plants love really bright indirect light, and even some direct light is totally okay as well. It's good to know that these plants can also become dormant during the winter season if they are exposed to cooler temperatures, so something to keep in mind. And when it comes to watering your Oxalis, you are going to want to water them when the surface of the topsoil becomes dry. Now, if yours Oxalis do go dormant, or they get exposed to cooler temperatures and they kind of die back, don't freak out, it's totally normal. But if that is the case, you're not going to want to water them as frequently, obviously, so you can cut back on the amount of watering quite severely. And in terms of fertilizer, I went ahead and used those slow release pearls for these two plants, and that's worked out just fine, so I will continue to do so. All right, so in terms of the soil mix, I actually am not 1000% happy with the mix that I currently used, or did use for my Oxalis as they stand right now. So I'm going to be changing that up, and I'm kind of curious to see if that helps improve growth, or if they just seem a little bit happier than they currently are. So as it stands now, in this current mix, I used really something gritty. So I had some perlite, some peat moss, probably a little bit of coco coir, as well as some of those like kind of gritty rock succulent mix. And let's go ahead and get these potted up into this one container, and then I'll explain the new mix that I'm using. But before that, I am going to be putting a little bit of leca, those terracotta balls, at the base of this container, because although it is terracotta and it has this really cute saucer, there actually isn't a drainage hole at the bottom. So that will really help so that the roots and the corms aren't sitting obviously in any water, and it will just help provide some of that deserved and needed drainage at the bottom of this container. All right, so here is the soil mix that I'm going to be using. I've used 3 equal parts of the fine bark as well as peat moss, and then I've used about 1 part of perlite and 1 part of coco coir for this mix. So I'm gonna give this a try, and I think this will be better than what I currently have these plants in. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right guys, here you can see the leca at the base of this new container. All right guys, so the root ball is a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be actually, which is great, and the roots seem nice and healthy, so that's cool too. I'm not sure if you can actually see this, but there's some corms that are just kind of popping up at the top, so yeah, let's get this one and the other one potted up into their new home. To really show me some love, click the bell for alerts and notifications for future content. And yeah, don't hesitate to leave a comment down below for this video. Okay guys, so I have them both in this new container. Don't be afraid if they're being a tad dramatic. They will revive over the next couple of days just fine. I need to add some soil mix just in and around the edges and to fill in some of the gaps. But what I do want to say is be sure to really pay close attention to any of the excess soil that falls off when you're removing them from their old containers, because you can find a whole bunch of corms which are a part of their root system, and you know, you'll want to include those in the new pot, or if you're trying to propagate more, you know, it's a good idea to hold on to them. All right, so these potted up really nicely. I'm really happy with how they turned out together now in one pot, one home. I'm really curious to see if this new soil mix makes any much of a difference. Right after this, I'm going to show you how the whole dining table center piece houseplant thing looks on my actual dining table with that additional plant in there as well. Well, that's it for me. Oh yeah, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, or hit that subscribe button. Miss you guys already. Until the next one.